Hi guys, welcome to the flight today as we're in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 with the Pmdg 737-700. We've got Avianca Airlines here, and we're going to be doing a flight from Colombia down into Quito. So it should be a nice high altitude arrival today as we come in on 36. Coming in for the ILS approach for the Zulu arrival, where we're going to track round and follow in on the left hand turn bank to intercept him for the localizer. So don't forget to like and subscribe guys. Thanks to everybody who supports the channel and all the newcomers. And with that all said and done, now we can get inside and start the aircraft up ready for our pre-flight procedures. Here we are now in Colombia in the 737-700. We'll go overhead, we get the battery on and guarded, standby power is guarded, and ground power is on. We get the one pump in for the APU with arm emergency exit lights, get the seatbelt signs and no chimes. Get our panel light all lit up for the overhead, which is set. IRSs number 1 and 2 to nav. Can test the flap settings, which is checked. Get that on, which will tell us 1 minute. Flight recorder can be checked as well, which is all set. Resets are auto, packs are auto, isolation valves are open. We got the APU bleed, which is on, and the bleeds for the engines, which are off. So we'll now open up the APU, which should start up and come to life. Go get our panels all in, get them lit up. And make sure you do these ones because that'll do the PFD and then just give you a little bit more brightness. As I know in X-Plane 11 you'd only really just use these three, the background, the AFS bud and the panel for the main lights. So that's all set. We get the panel for the FMC. Okay, so we're into the IRS position as we're going to be going out from Bogota. So Bogota is going to be leaving out on Sierra Kilo Bravo Oscar, okay, which is in, going into the left GPS, punch that through. On for our routing, we're coming in for Sierra Echo Quebec Mike. On the departure, we're leaving out for runway 31 right. Going to take the Vapor 1 Romeo. And we're transitioning off for Ariga. From Ariga on the routing, we're going to direct to the Papa November, which is going to be the VOL. Direct to Mer. Okay, so I've got the flight plan here as well, and just check for the VOLs. Check them all out. So for Mer, coming through, we're looking for the 116.3, which is likely to be the top one anyway, and Vapor for PPN was the 114.5. So from there we're then going to take direct to Bocan. But before I go to Bocan, we're going to put in the arrival which we want to get down in. Now, Bocan is going to take us down to Agnok, which is uniform Papa 778. Once we get down to Quito, we're then going to come in for the arrival. Now, we're coming in for the ILS Zulu for 36. And we're transition off at Quito as well. The arrival chart's right here. We've got the ILS Zulu for runway 36. And that's going to basically take us down to Quito, which is the Condon Corcho, the 115.5, and then once we ride that through onto the 179, approximately 90 nautical miles from the Quito VOR, we're then going to take the left DME arc, max 180, we'll start decelling the aircraft, and then we're going to start the descent on that turn down to 14,002, descend down to 10,005, which will be approximately about 2,000 to 3,000 feet, and then at 10,500 we're going to start the glide slope for the Foxtrot India 36, which is our final approach fix before we start the descent down. So that's all us there. We can activate the route, go to our perf, request all of our limits, which should be all good for us, and we can go and get the airport chart as well for the departure. Okay, so on the departure we're going to be leaving out for runway 31 right, so it's just over on our right hand side. we're just here, so we'll come out, then swing on to Bravo, or swing on to Alpha should I say. That'll get us down to the end of the runway 431 right. So we'll load everything in, perf can be loaded, which is checked. Cost index today is coming out, it's going to be 5. I don't know why I keep saying using reserve fuel. It's got 5.4, reserves are 2. There we go, that'll get rid of that. So we're going to be going for a flight level of 360, which is checked. Temps coming down at 66 at 25. And it's going to give us at minus 53. Okay, which is checked. Trans altitude, I'll leave at 18,000. On for our N1 limits, leaving out of the runway. Go for a takeoff 1 and a climb 1 for takeoff. We've got a flaps 5, we've got 129, a 131 and a 135. So because we are always light, I'm used to being in the 800. I'm going to put on a takeoff 2 and a climb 1, that'll do. So 130, 132 and a 135 plus 20, which is going to give us a 155 for V2 plus 20. Flight directors are on, auto throttle can be armed, leaving out of the runway today. 31 right is going to give us a track out of 314. Okay, which is checked. Landing elevation 791. So I put 7,900. Okay, which is checked. And 360 over on the flight altitude, which is also checked. 360, which can be punched in on the MCP altitude. Okay, which is checked, and the QNH is leaving out is 1027. Okay, which is also checked. TA can now be turned on. As we go overhead, we can switch the APU over, which is checked. Go to the APU gen, get the yaw damper on, all of our pumps can come on. Electric hydraulics, which are checked, and we can now ding the cabin and tell them that we are ready to go. So remove all of our stuff that we've got set on the aircraft. Ground power can be released, maintenance van can go, stairs 1 and passenger bus can also go, and we can release all of the loaders. So as they will get ready now to leave, passenger bus etc, there goes the maintenance van just coming to do some quick work on the aircraft just before we leave. I'll just wait for them to disappear. There goes the passenger bus, which is also jetting off. We're taking the Vapor 1 Romeo departure transition for a Riga. So below 18,000, which is for the Isnox 1 Bravo, we're taking the 1 Romeo, so below flight level 200. We'll go down on our legs and just check out. So 31 right, we're going to take a left turn onto the 266 for the Bravo Oscar 549. Once we get there for 12,000 feet, which is in, below 14,000 for the Bravo Oscar 505, which is also set, we transition off for a Riga, which then we're going to basically take off to Vapen. I did get that a bit wrong. 25 nautical miles to Vapor, and then we're going to be below 200. We take that onto a Riga for the 240, which is there. 34 nautical miles. We're then going to end up to a Riga 33.8 at flight level 304. So that is us all in and set to go. Everyone's left nearly, as we're just waiting for the loader to go, and then we'll be all set to leave. So we'll get the pushback on as we're getting ready to leave. There goes the last set. Now we can get the tug to come, as long as we keep the brakes on, which are set to go.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start tail straight out. Roger that. Ready for push straight back. Release the brakes, please.
Okay, we'll stop him when we get just a little bit. Will be coming out on that side, so we need to come right out of the airport. Pats can be turned off now, which are checked.
Brakes released, here we go.
Okay, so as we push back now, we go for engine number 2. Ground is on, start valve is now open. N2 you'll see slowly increase. All pressure will come to life and slowly start to increase as well. 25% will inject fuel, and see EGT start to increase. So we see all pressure now slowly starting to lift. 25% will inject fuel, got 94.2 on our N1 speed. Let's just get the winds as well for takeoff. Centre of gravity can go in. There's 30. Engine number 2 is coming in. EGT will start to increase, and we'll see engine number 2 come back. 56%. The starter cutout will come back to off. It's variable at 2. So we're coming out at 314. So there's engine number 2 coming over. 135, which should go in. 135. Ground for number 1 can now come over to as well.
Pushback complete.
Okay.
Brake set.
Pushback's complete.
Brake set.
All pressure coming to life. 25% will inject fuel. We'll see engine number 1 then spring in. So we'll light her up early so you guys can see outside.
Alright, steering pin is disconnected. Watch for the slip release from guidance on your left. Have a good flight.
See you soon. Bye bye. So we're basically going to come out. Once we leave out over to the right hand side, we then need to go over to the other side, which is at runway 31 right. So EGT is now starting to come through. Right in here, so we're going to come out, do a right, follow it all the way down past Papa, join in onto Alpha, and then follow Alpha all the way down to the end. Okay, start valve low pressure oil is out. We can switch over to gens, which are checked. Go to gen 1, get the probes back on. Isolation valves can go to auto. Packs can go back on to auto. Bleeds can go on. APU bleed can go off along the APU. Your engine start switches are continuous and collision is on, and we are ready to go. Weather's looking a little bit dull down here. Okay. Parking brake is set as well. Now we'll make sure the tug's now gone, which he has, and the chucks are removed. So we've gone through everything on the FMC side, all the speeds and everything match up. Once we leave out, 155, 207, 278. So we're going to hold V2 plus 20, which is 155, which you can see there, which is plugged. 135 plus 20, which is 155. Flaps 5, which are down in green. Just going to set up the flight recorder, the control replay, and then we are all ready to go. So as we just quickly do this, get the aircraft all set, so then we can get some lovely cinematics of the wings for you guys. Okay, that's all done. So we are now ready for departure. We can release parking brakes. For some reason that's the getting pass. Taxi lights can go on, which are set. So now join onto the taxiway, we're then going to take a right hand turn. And from that right, we're pretty much going to go right away over there, come out onto Alpha. As you can see. So it should be the first arrival in Microsoft Flight Simulator for Quito coming down, and it should be a very nice one indeed as we leave. So just leaving now off the stands. Then going to take a right hand turn, which is then going to lead us down onto the runway. Get our trim set as well just before takeoff. Going to go down onto Alpha. Bubbly ring tips. Follow it down to the end. And that is us pretty much done for runway 31 right, so we're just going to follow it all the way down to the end of stand, and then break a left hand turn so then we can pole up, so get a little bit of speed in. .30 knots max. Runway 31 right is literally just right there. Okay, and for takeoff, reductions 1500 and 3000. Okay. So you can see we're 8,300 feet above sea level. (9,004 and 88 the peaks of the mountains start. We're going to go right the way down to the end. So it should be a nice arrival coming down on the ILS for Quito. As I say, it's the first one done, and we've stopped all the stutters on touchdown by putting the SIM into the new SSD. So that will make a big difference, as we don't have no more stutter on arrival. So we'll taxi down to the end, we'll do our before takeoff checklist, and then we'll get the aircraft all prepared to go out. So as we're now riding through, I'm going to go and get the centre of gravity, which is 571. Which we'll call air checked. So before takeoff checklist, got flaps 5 which are set, auto brakes RTO, packs are auto, bleeds are on, cabin has been notified, QNH is a 1027, which are set cross checked. As we coast the aircraft down to the end. the runway turn-off lights on, which will be checked just before we go into the turn. We'll get our strobes on, so that saves us messing about. Cabin crew, take your seats for departure. We've got on the wing lights as well, as I say, just in case we do some lovely wing departures. Here we are, runway 31 right. The strobes can go on, which are checked. Go on MV nav. Oh, we're going to go down to hidden select, should I say. Take out hidden select. VNAV can come out as well. It's meant to arm LNAV and hidden select just on their own. 155, and then we blast up to 200. There's a rubbery runway as we come round. Okay, so here we are now at runway 31 right, landing lights are on, cabin is notified, and we are ready to blast out. So we'll get the yoke in so you guys can see the inputs. Full pressure on the column. Can go up to 45%. Stabilized and a toga. Airspeed live. Thrust set. Checked, throttle hold. 100 neutral on the column.
V1. Rotate.
Rotate.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. Okay, so we're going to follow V2 plus 20, which is 155. Okay, gear is up, no lights. Water brake can be turned off, gear can be up and off, which also checked. I don't know why there's a bug here with the trim. Runway turn off lights and taxis can be turned off as well. There's our climb now. As we're going to just drop down a little as we go down into climb 1. So we can lift up on our speed just a little bit. Once we go after this left-hand turn, we can then get the aircraft out onto 200 knots and start to clean the flaps up. So we're just holding our V2 plus 20. Following in on the flight director, lovely and stable as we now track onto that left-hand turn. A little bit of turbulence. So I think there's probably like a bug with the trim. Maybe there's a new update coming out, so maybe that'll fix it. Still holding 155. As we brake onto this left-hand turn, we can then start to accelerate the aircraft. Getting 200 on our speed. As we clean the aircraft up now. So it's quite annoying, that trim on the bank. As the aircraft's going to speed up now for our flaps 1 setting. As we go into the clouds, still flying the aircraft manually. Speed check, flap 1. as we ride through, and put the autopilot on now, which will be checked. VNAV can go in as well, as we're just reaching into our flaps up speed, so speed check, flaps up. As we now fly out of lovely Quito. Okay, so there's 230 on our speed. As just riding now for the Bravo Oscar 55, which is now on the 267. Which is checked. So we want to get VNAV in. Check target altitude 36, also in on the climb 73 to 36, 12,000. Okay, because we're holding at the moment for 12,000 feet. I was just thinking that we wasn't able to go up, so 12,000 now. Once we pass off, the next flex will be 14,000 below 360, which is in. So then we go on to the next fix. There's VNAV in now. VNAV will follow the path. Now we'll climb back up through to 360. Landing lights can be switched off as well. A little bit rough there. And cloud layer is quite low. Let's go into that left hand turn. Absolutely lovely views. So it needs to be 14,000 below. Now the aircraft's going to start to climb up. N1's in, and we're going to go up to 360. All the way now from Vapon, which is going to take us on to 250. So stunning views. All the land coming through as we go up to Quito. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to leave you with the takeoff cinematics and some aerial cinematics, and once we get back in, we'll be coming down for our top of descent, ready for the ILS approach into runway 36. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks to everybody who joins the channel and enjoys the flights, and I will see you when we get back into the flight deck for our top of descent into lovely Quito. Hi guys, welcome back to the flight deck. As we're currently just around about 40 nautical miles or so out from our top of descent. As we get ready to come in for the arrival, we're going to get the METARs down for Quito, and then we can proceed further on in. So the METARs down in Quito, we're coming in for runway 36, 1027, broken clouds at 2006, overcast at 8,000 feet. So that should be interesting. We're going to run it down to our minimums. I'm going to put the forecast winds as well in. I was just having a look on the progress. As you see, the RMP for the approach, everything here was 0.3, which we add in on our RNAV approaches as well, which is mandatory. So we just double check that. So we're going to go into our forecast and get all of the winds. We'll get the trans level as well, just before the aircraft goes into its top of descent. So 18,000 trans level, which is set, it's probably 2,992, which will set in 1027, I think. 1027, which we checked. I put in 200. 100, actually, do you know what, we can go higher than that. 300, that'll put that underneath. 200 and 100, as the elevation is about 8,000 feet anyway, so it's roughly about 2,000 just below. So the speed's coming in on the weather that we're going to get through are 057 at 3. 200 is going to give us 111 at 22, and 10,000 is 130 at 3. Now the wind's coming down, which I'm going to put forward a METARs. It's variable at 1, so we'll leave that, which is fine. Got that on. As we're coming forward the arrival, we're going to hit Quito, which is 115.3, which we've got set in on both sides, 115.3. There's our top of descent within 10 nautical miles. We can now plug down and get the altitude, which is set. We're going to drop down at 18,000 feet, so we'll plug the MCP altitude for 18,000. Coming down in VNAV path, 18,000, which is checked. Get the fasten seatbelts on, tell them to come on, engine start switches will turn off for now as we come in. So max 180 once we fly down from Quito. Let's open this up a little bit so you guys can see. So we're going to come down to Quito VOR, to 115.3. Once we hit there, we're going to jump in onto the 179, follow that all the way down 18,000 feet and start the descent down for 14,002. Once we go onto that left 9 DME arc onto the 3-1 track, which will be 7 DME from the Quebec Sierra Victor, we're going to get the ILS in as well, which will be all set for us to come in. As you can see, the 109.3, which will get set. Once we pass Quito, we'll switch in for the 116.9, which will just drop down. 116.9 and the 109.3, which will also be checked and set. Once we pass there, we'll intercept onto the 002, which is going to be our approach. The aircraft's retarded and throttles back now, ready to go into its top of descent. We see the vertical deviation now as the aircraft will slowly start making its way down. So 002, which is checked, heading currently the 221. We'll then intercept that down at Quito for the 179. So the 221 track we're going to stay on all the way now until we come down. Minimums for Cat C is radio 130. That's for the Cat 2, so my bad. So 8110 for a 200-foot decision. So it looks like we're going to be holding on to this for quite a while. As we descend down, you can see our fuel's a little bit low. Enough for us to make it down onto the runway for 36. Minimums would probably take quite a while to put in. It's only on 24,000 feet. So you can see decision altitude 8110 for the MDA, 200 foot decision altitude, required visual range 550, visual 800 meters. So as it's down for 2000, I'm just going to leave the minimums off on this one, as is 8001. Unless we was doing that in real life, then it'd be a whole different story. So engine ice is on, auto brake set for number 1 for now, until we go in on the arrival. Quito for 36002, got 4,000 metres of runway, so we'll do a auto brake number 2, and then we can get off at Alpha 2 or Alpha 3, not too much, so we'll stay for flat auto brake number 1. Going to calculate our landing, so 28 to 35, just going to 0.7, so 123.4. Flaps 1 for flaps 30, so 131 plus 5 gives us 136, so 109.3 for the 001. So I'll plug the 001 in just because it's down in on the FMC. 109.3, which will switch over once we get past near for Quito. Engine start switch will continuous. We'll put that down near to the approach, which will be around about 18,000 feet. That will be roughly about 10,000 feet, as the aerodrome is 8,000. As we descend down, we've got the 179, which is going to intercept. We can see Quito's VOR, which are currently 42 nautical miles. Just coming through flight level 310, and the views outside looking really nice as we come down. So it's going to be overcast as we fly through, so we'll see what the visibility is saying. We'll run it down to minimums, which is going to be a 200 foot decision, so off the 811 we'll say about 8,300 feet. That's when it's going to be a time to call for minimums. You can see the fuel as we come down. If you're at 30 plus 5 would be 136 coming down. QNH is a 1027. Okay, 1027, which is checked and cross-checked on either side. As we pass through 29,000 feet, so we are really about 21,000 feet. It's just because we're 8,000 feet above sea level, so the aircraft's going to be 8,000 feet higher than what is indicated. There's Quito VOR, 33 nautical miles. As we come down, check now overheat on the electrics. Now I don't have any of the checklists of such, but if I did have the quick reference handbook, then I would be able to get that all checked in. So we can see that we've got an overheat set over on the electric side. You can see overheat because we've run out of fuel. Let's have a look and check down into vibrations are fine, into fuel flow, all pressure the same, all the temps, all quantities the same as well. So I'm not sure if the failures are on the aircraft or not, but with the overheat there's nothing that we can do so far for it. We're right down near to the airport, so we get maintenance to have a look at it once we do come in on the arrival. Passing through 27,000 feet now. Never seen the overheat come on, even in the Zebo, but then we had the failures off, so that'd be something to have a look at. We'll have a look and see if we can get the quick reference handbook. Okay, so here's a quick reference handbook. This is for the Thompsons. So there's not really much we can do. So both overheats now for the electric hydraulics, or it could be as the fuel quantities going down. Can't really tell you right now. So it's passed through 24,000. We're going to open up speed brakes as we get ready to go into the abyss. We're going to have to master caution. As we know, we have the warnings. We're only a few minutes from arrival now as we come through. So we're arriving pretty high. I'm going to patch onto high as well. 1 degree outside. Coming down the 221, then we brake onto a left-hand turn for the 179. So there's Quito VOR. Approximately 9 DME out. This is where we then ride onto the left-hand arc for the 9 DME arc. So there's Quito. Got down to 18,000. We're going to drop it down to 10,005. Which is where we start at the top of the descent. So 19 nautical miles onto that right hand turn, tracking outbound onto the 179 is where we then make the left hand turn. We'll switch the Quito in for the Sierra Uniform Romeo, which is 116.8, which is right there, 116.8. Of course, it's tuned in for the 001 as it's in on the FMC, as is the 002. Speed brakes can now come back in, can arm them as well. Char also checked, both overheats on the electrics. Passing through 22,005. And then once we track that, we'll then go onto that 90 arc, radial 224, and track that to the 031. You can see we'll have that there, 159, all the way to 224, which is the radial 224, and that'll be on 140. Sorry, about to go down into the clouds. Brake left, then we should be all ready to come in. You can see the overheats are on, which I haven't ever seen that before, so that'll be something. Leave the engine anti-ice on. Engine start switches now can come on to continuous, which are checked. Tell the cabin to get ready as we go. Full degrees, still going 250. Once we get down and max 180 before we come in onto that left hand turn. So before approach checklist, we'll auto brake set for number 1, which is checked. Our VREV, which is VREV 30 plus 5, which goes 131. Now turn onto the 179, which is checked. Then altitude coming down, which is 79 on the altitude, and flight level, which was 360. Engine start switches are continuous. As we descend now through 19,008, which is originally around 11,000 feet. Next fix 245. Insufficient fuel, which is perfectly okay, as we are going to make it down there on time. Got 1.5 tons on each side, so no room for a go around today. Going to hold 18,000 feet. As we now go into the abyss.
Traffic.
Okay, so all the traffic's turned off, so there shouldn't be nothing there for us. 18,000 feet, the aircraft's now going to hold. 179 inbound. And drop down to 180. 14,002 now. QNHs can now come over to 1027. Speed brakes can be open as well. Next speed decel will be 240. Under 250 knots. can open up flaps 5. There's 240 coming in. As you know, I'm going to slow it all the way down to 180. So flaps 5 can come in under 25, 210 we can enter flaps 10. $14,002 above we'll need to be, and turn terrain off as we leave it on as we're going to break off. Lovely views as we just break through the clouds now onto this spectacular arrival today in a lovely Quito. So 14,002 above. Need to be for 180, and then we'll hold 180 all the way down on the descent. So the aircraft's slowly slowing down, flaps 5 is engaged, green light. Landing lights can all be turned on, runway turn-offs, taxis, engine start switch to continuous. Not very happy with the isolation, the electric hydraulic should I say, on the overheat. 7 degrees, and turn the anti-ice off now. As you get ready to blast into lovely Quito. And on this left hand turn, which we follow it out back onto the 159. As we checked, continuing the descent down, and we hit onto the 031, 14,200 feet, 19 at Quito. Hold that all the way to radial 224, that's the inbound, and that's when we're then going to take that left hand turn back over, so just a few moments time on the 222. So there's a 224 radial. As I pass through 15,007. Flaps 5, which is in. Now switch over to the 116.8. Passing through 15,003, we're going to drop down to 10,005. .3, which will be in. Okay, 002. Onto our left hand turn, passing through 14,007. Now we descend down for 10,005. 10,005, which is out in the OCP altitude. Weather doesn't look very nice at all. Okay, then we've got one more left hand turn. Over then rock in 109.3, which is in 40 ILS, 16.6 nautical miles. We now track down onto the 002. Which is checked. Passing through 13,200 feet. As we're now going to get ready to intercept the localizer. Flaps 5, which is already engaged. As we're now flying to lovely Quito, guys, so enjoy the views of the arrival. And in we come. See, the visibility is not very good as we come through 12,007 for 10,005. Just passed through 12,006. Engine start switch is continuous. Landing lights are on and checked. Packs now. Get back to auto. Engine bleeds are on. cabin has been advised, which we'll tell them one more time. Minimum's coming in is 8300 on the altitude indicator. Coming in for a VREF of 30 plus 5, which is a 136. And auto brake number 1. So as the aircraft goes on to its final left-hand turn, we've got 002, which is all set and bugged. It's coming down for 10,005, the R lock can come in. So just get lower down now into that approach. You can see some of the overcast, some of the haze. Okay, there's that left hand turn, VOR lock will come in, 10,005 will hold. Okay, there's a VOR lock. Activate the approach, I reckon the glide slope will go beneath us. So there's the glide slope. $10,005 is a final approach fix. Single channels engaged and locked. Just passing 10,000 feet. Currently 8 DME out. Flaps 15, get down. Speed brakes armed. Weather doesn't look very nice at all out here. So, landing checklist, gears down, 3 nights. Flaps 30 will come in just a few moments. We've got flaps 30 in now, should be checked. Coming down to 135. Landing lights, engine start switch continuous, packs auto, bleeds are on. And we are established on single channel for the Cat 1 ILS. 8,300 feet, we're going to call out minimums, which is our 200 foot decision. So once this hits 8,003, that'll be our minimum call out, as it was just too much to put on for the barrow just spinning it. 135, which is coming down, checked.
1,000.
1,000 checked. Okay, we have a vision of the runway. Do some manual flying. We correct up with the runway. .135 coming in. Keep it stable, not to lose too much height. Too red, too white. Get a bit of right rudder in. Okay, 8,003.
400. 300. 200.
Minimums continue.
100.
Sync rate.
30. 20. 10.
Okay, speed brakes are up. And reverses are active. Full pressure on the column. Come for Alpha 3. systems are idle. Manual braking now. And welcome down into Quito, guys. So just get ready to run off of the runway turn off. Speed rates can now be retracted back in. Perhaps can all be set as well. Get our landing lights off. And configure the aircraft back to normal. So landing lights, runway turn off lights, strobes, engine start switches as we just turn around, release the cabin, etc. and we get nearer to the stand. Auto brake can be turned off 1.5 minutes after the landing. We get the APU on and we are ready to go to stand. So welcome to Quito, guys. Lovely arrival. Lovely views of Avianca. As we now ride up to stand, perhaps fully back in and retracted. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to leave you with the landing cinematics. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Always loving new members to join the channel and join us on board these lovely epic flights. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great afternoon, evening, day, and I'll see you all very soon on the next available flight on the channel. So stay safe, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.